Hello, everybody. How are you? Apologies for coming on a couple of minutes late. I just had some last minute kind of toying with things that I wanted to make sure that I had set. So hopefully you all are seeing and hearing me okay, and I'm sure I'll find out in a few moments if that's the case or not. But welcome to this live stream where I'm going to be talking a little bit about some of the games that I am interested in. Mike Heller says you got me loud and clear. That's fantastic. All right, beautiful. So, what is this live stream all about? Well, this is about a very wonderful opportunity that has been presented to me that I am thrilled to be able to take advantage of, which is namely that I'm going to be going on behalf of the Dice Tower to Tokyo Game Market. This is for the spring edition, which is in just over a week. Every year, Tokyo Game Market holds two fairs, one in the spring and one in the autumn. And so I'm going to the very soon spring edition of this. And I'm going because of Arclight Games, who are going to be bringing me over there. And also, they are a Japanese publisher who, in addition to publishing games in Japan, are also the runners of the Tokyo Game Market. And so I am very thrilled, very excited, very happy to have the opportunity to go to Tokyo Game Market. I have never been to Japan, so that's going to be exciting in and of itself. But I have, for the last several years, become pretty entrenched with the Japanese import side of the board gaming hobby here in the United States. And essentially, what I'm getting at is that there are particular games that get released oftentimes only at the game markets. Oftentimes very small print run DIY type of games. And every so often, you'll get a chance to play them, or I've had a chance to play them, either through other people bringing back a copy that have gone themselves. Sometimes these games end up getting picked up into wider distribution. And so sometimes I'll play them, several years after they were released at Tokyo Game Market when they've now been released into wider distribution. And so, yeah, this is something that for the last several years I have been interested in, have gone through efforts to import many of the previous year's Tokyo Game Market games to the United States. Number of different ways to do that, either through forwarding services or through friends that have been kind enough to bring things back from Tokyo as well. So, yeah, this is going to be a pretty special experience. Looking forward to going and experiencing this for myself on behalf of the Dice Tower. I'm going to be, of course, shooting a bunch of footage while I'm there. Going to be putting together some blogs or vlogs that I'll be releasing after I get back and have had a chance to edit them and things along those lines. But I'm hoping to not only show you footage of the Tokyo Game Market itself. It's a 2-day event, runs Saturday and Sunday. I'll be there both days. But I'm also hoping to show you a bit of other footage. It's a short trip for me. I'm only there for 5 days. 6 days technically, but travel kind of eats up one full day for that. And so I'll be taking some footage of other aspects of Japan that I hope to check out. The first night, I'll actually be staying in Akihabara, which is not where I'll be staying during the convention, but it's an area that is kind of well known for its kind of geeky culture. It's got a lot of the game stores that are there, anime shops, manga, things along those lines. So I've heard very good things about that. I'm excited to check that out the first night that I'm there. I'll be visiting the ArcLight offices, and I'm sure I'll take footage of that. So very much looking forward to the whole trip. It's going to be a whirlwind, I'm sure. Making sure, I'm just going to double check everything here. And yeah, it's just people greeting themselves in the live chat. That's fantastic. And so What I'm going to do is this. This is very low key and kind of flying by the seat of my pants. But what I've done here is I've put together a list of the games that have kind of caught my eye, that I'm kind of focusing on. This is the list. You'll be seeing all of them here in a moment. Is this a comprehensive list? Not even close. There's at least 4 to 5 times the number of games that I'm going to be showing you today that I would potentially love to be able to bring back with me. There will be things that I haven't seen yet that I'm going to discover there that are going to become exciting for me. It's just a given. But I'm limited by a couple of things. Number one, I'm limited by luggage space. I'm really only planning to bring a 1 carry-on and 1 checked bag. And 2, money, of course. And so am I going to be able to get everything that's even on what I'm showing you here today? Unlikely, but there's certainly, these are the ones that have most got my attention, most interested in, and hoping to bring several of these back. What else to talk about before we get into the list? So for the very first year, for the very first game market, there is a Board Game Geek preview list. And so, as you're probably aware, Board Game Geek and W. Eric Martin specifically at Board Game Geek puts together these preview lists for the major conventions throughout the year. And they're a pretty invaluable resource to people that are either looking to go or just kind of want to see what's going to be available at these conventions. And so for many, many years, there's been an Essen preview list, a Gen Con preview list, an Origins preview list, PAX U, others, I'm sure. But this is the first year that they're doing it for the Tokyo Game Market. However, I am going to pull a couple of things off of that specific list, but most of what I'm showing you, I'm just going to be getting directly from the Tokyo Game Market site, their website, which is in Japanese. However, using Chrome, it'll auto-translate, and it's not always a perfect translation, but that's okay. That's part of the fun. That's part of the joy of this process, at least for me, and hopefully it is for you. So let me just, let's go, what do I have this set on here? Let's go here. Okay, oh, that was my, give me one moment here. Let me take off that. Why are you just not leaving? I want you to leave. What I want you to do is to leave. Huh. It's because I think I'm casting right now. So I don't want that. Instead, what I want is this. That's what I want. Okay. Is this good? Is this what I'm looking for? That's what I'm looking for. All righty. Okay. So this is the spring preview for Game Market on Board Game Geek. And so it's going to look familiar to anybody who has gone through one of these preview lists. This one only has 76 titles on it. Now, there are hundreds and hundreds of titles that are getting released at Tokyo Game Market. And W. Eric Martin himself said that he's really kind of at the mercy of what publishers send in to him. And so this is not an extensive list. However, there are going to be a couple that I pull from there. Mostly, I'm going to be pulling from the Tokyo Game Market website, which you can see here. And this is the, through Chrome, this is translated, okay? But the regular page is in Japanese. So this is where I'm going to be pulling most of my information from. It'll be clear to you what the difference is because you'll see whether it's a TGM page or a BGG page, all right? That's a lot of tabs. That is true. All right, let's go ahead and get started. And so what order am I doing these in? I'm not doing these in order of my interest or anticipation. This is strictly, I did it in the order of the booth numbers because I wanted to have games that were from the same booth or publisher lumped together. And so I, just sorted it that way. And so there's no real rhyme or reason within this other than it's sorted by the booth number. So it's kind of just a random order here. So the first game that I am quite interested in that got my attention is Depot, okay? Depot is coming from Oink Games, and I have played a couple of other games from this publisher. And this one has got me because of the theme, mostly, all right? So the cards all look like packages. And just that hook has kind of got me here. So it's 3 to 5 players, 15-minute game, so it's going to be a pretty quick card game. And so you are sorting packages, essentially, is what you're doing. And so it says it's a go-out style card game, which I'm assuming they're saying this is a shedding game. This is a game where you want to get rid of all the cards in your hand before the other players. It says it right there, as a matter of fact. Yeah, so a shedding game in trick-taking parlance, all right? And so there's going to be different kind of rules that you have on how you can play your cards, what type of cards you can play. The maximum number of cards that you can be played is the same value as the number of cards with the same value in your warehouse. So there's going to be restrictions. And just know that for most of these games, I have not gone into a lot of detail about the rules. These are mostly things like theme that are getting my attention, and maybe a previous designer or designer of previous games that I've liked that have gotten it on the list. Publishers, things along those lines. So this one was mostly the theme. I just love the idea of you are playing cards that are looking like packages that you are kind of sorting and you're trying to shed them. This one also comes with a nice little comic with it. I believe this one, I'll click for the rule book, although I think that it's going to be in Japanese. I think this is a Japanese rule book, but I do believe there may be an English rule book that becomes available with this. Not positive about that, but we'll see. All right. Next up is a game that obviously is coming from BGG, and it has not a great rating on there, and I don't know, maybe it's not a great game. I'm not sure, but the reason why Pizza Zombie is on my list is twofold. Number one is I love, love, love the art on this. I just think that this art is so great. It's kind of the Cuphead type of thing. And that is appealing to me. But the other reason why is that this publisher, known as Board Bull, released a game, I want to say it was last year at Tokyo Game Market, that I imported called Sneakerheads, which is a auction game. And I really like that game a lot. And so this is on here for two primary reasons. Number one, because of the publisher, Board Bull, and my experience with their last year's game, Sneakerheads. And Pizza Zombie because A, it's called Pizza Zombie, right? I mean, that's pretty compelling. And B, I love the look of this art. And so that's got me hooked right there. This is a company, a publisher that has really, really solid graphic design and art. I loved the art in Sneakerheads too, and it wasn't even as impressive as this. So this is one that I'm intrigued by primarily because of the publisher, the art, and the theme. So hoping Pizza Zombie is good. I don't know where that 5.8 rating is coming from. Actually, oops, let me just go back here. It only has 5 ratings, okay? So that's a pretty small sample size. I'm not going to freak out over the 5.8 rating based off of a sample size of 5. All right. This next one is one that I'm not 100% sure is going to be there, all right? This was something that was kickstarted, and it's called Jizogi Anime Studio Tycoon. And so this looks to be a Euro-style game, a worker placement game, and with a very interesting theme, and the art on this also looks amazing. And so I can confirm that this publisher is going to be a Tokyo Game Market. What I don't know is if they're going to have copies of this to sell. I'm relatively sure they're going to at least have a copy to demo, to check out. But I hope that they're going to have copies to sell. I was speaking to my liaison at ArcLight Games, and he was under the impression that they would have copies to sell. So we'll see. It's still to be determined. But what I did do was I brought up their website here, okay? And so this is the website for the publisher, Esper Games Studio. And this is going to give a little bit more of an indication of what you're kind of looking at here. There's a teaser trailer, which I'm not going to show. You can play it right now on Tabletop Simulator, but I just really like the look of this game. And it looks like there's a fair bit going on. Looks like at least, I mean, just by the appearance, looks like a mid-weight Euro game, worker placement game. I'm very compelled with the look of it. Obviously, they have a campaign page. It looks like we can even see if there's an art book here. I don't know if this is is this an English rule book? My computer, yeah, it is. Would you look at that? All right. So I like the look of this. It looks like there's, yeah, this is definitely not a light game. It looks like there's a fair bit going on. I'm down with that. The biggest issue on this one, other than are they actually selling it, might be how big is the box. That was something I actually wanted to mention early on, is that one of the reasons I'm hopeful that the space issue will not be as dramatic as it is at other conventions is that many of these games are of much smaller box sizes. That's something that it would be too much of a generalization to say that all games that are produced in Japan are small box. That's, of course, way too much of a generalization. I've got Ostia sitting right behind me. You can't really see it there because I'm blocking it. That's a Japanese production. That's a massive Eagle Griffin sized box. And there are other large box games that I have recently from Japan. But I think it is safe to say that the box sizes skew much smaller there. And so I'm hopeful that I can get a good number of games based on that. However, this one, I'm not sure. I'm not sure of if the size is going to work for me on this one. All right, moving on next, we've got Lunar Trick. This is a trick-taking game, and this is one where I have read the rules. There is an English rule book for this, and it looks like it's going to be, to overdo a pun, a pretty tricky trick-taking game, where cards don't have predetermined suits. They only have numbers on them. And you're going to determine the trumps and the suits at the beginning of a round, it looks like. Okay, and so again, there is an English rule book there, but you can see some of the pictures here. Looks pretty cool. Let me go ahead and just pull up that rule book so you can get a little bit of an idea of that. And again, I did read this. It's a 3 to 4 player game. And yeah, so it looks like this kind of, that little square that has kind of like the moon phases around it is going to be where you're placing cards. Is the idea I get from this. That's going to determine what suits are which, or what numbers are which suit. I think you may only have 2 suits, a rising moon and a falling moon. So I believe there's 2 suits. And one of them is going to be the trump, and it's going to be based on which cards players play face down. And then I think you simultaneously reveal, and then they kind of go on that mat. That's the idea that I get behind this, and that is intriguing. Do I understand it? No. This is one where I feel like I need to play through a couple of rounds, and many trick-taking games are like this, where you read the rules and you're like, okay, I think maybe let's give it a shot, right? So this is one that I'm intrigued by, and I'm not sure I understand exactly how it works yet, but that's Okay. All right. Hey, let's go with another trick-taking game. And I see that Chris Yee is in the chat right now. And so this is going to be one that Chris is familiar with because he already has a copy of Trickorus. And he actually taught me this game. We only played it the one time. And I will say, the first time I played it, I wasn't sure what I thought about it. And I haven't played it again, but I have heard a lot of good things. There are a couple of things I read that were nuances that I don't think that I picked up the first time that I played it, which make me interested to play it some more. Okay, and so this is a game where, from what I remember, you're moving up and down this track, and you want to. You don't want to jump into the sun, right? Which is, you can see kind of on here. Let's see if there's more pictures down here below. So here you can kind of see the cards. All right. Well, it kind of tells you how the game is played. Each card has a light side and a dark side. Each half has a different number. Each trick is going to begin with the dealer choosing a card from the active side and playing it, and that becomes the lead color. And then it's a must-follow game, so you have to follow it if you can. But as soon as the number 5 is played, the cards turn over, all right? And if they win, they move their place close to the sun. So you want to get as close to the sun as possible without going into it, because then you have to go back down, I believe, from what I remember, all right? So a very interesting idea. There's apparently a cooperative mode too, and that I didn't even know was a thing. That also made me interested in this too, to kind of see, oh, how would this work as a cooperative game? Because Chris and I definitely didn't play it that way. So yeah, Chris is saying he also wants to try Trickorus some more. He feels that it has some notes of Schadenfreude, and I get that in the sense that you don't want to go too far, you don't want to kind of bust. So yeah. So Trickorus on my list there, and maybe I'll be able to pick up a copy for myself. And I'm not sure if it's going to be the same or different as Chris's copy. I'm not sure if Chris's copy had the cooperative rules or not. I'm assuming if it's just rules, then it wouldn't actually matter. You could just play with those rules. But we'll see. We'll see. Maybe we'll talk about that afterwards. All right. I said they're not all trick-taking games, but we've got a run of trick-takers here. Okay. This is Goat Father. All right. What's the reason this is on my list? Strictly because of the theme and the name of the game. Yes, that is a homage to The Godfather, but instead of The Godfather, it's goats. Goat mafiosi. That's enough. That's enough to get this on my list. I didn't look very much into it, okay? But it looks like, maybe this is not a trick-taking game, actually. This looks like a, this looks like a blind bidding game. Yeah, that's right, that's right. So you're playing cards face down to different territories, all right? Let's see if we can see those here. So yeah, you see these different kind of territories, and then the number cards. And there are only, there are English rules. Yes, there you go. And I guess the idea is that you are playing cards face down to each of the territories, and then you simultaneously reveal them, and someone's going to, gain control of that territory. Can you, wow. Anyway, yeah, the English rules are there. I'm not going to try to blow those up right now because honestly, I'm afraid of messing with my screen too much. One thing I meant to mention at the very beginning is that at the Tokyo Game Market specifically, as I mentioned, oftentimes these are very small print run games. And as such, they will sell out quickly oftentimes, especially, because a lot of times even on that first day. Some of the publishers, some of the people that have booths will be there both days. Some will only be there Saturday. Some will only be there Sunday. And so you have to kind of make sure that you are getting them, when they're actually there. But luckily, many of them allow you to reserve a copy. And so I have done that with several of these. I have put in reservations so that when I go to the booth, and this is also, I think, hopefully going to be more helpful to me because I cannot and I will not assume that anybody that I'm interacting with there speaks English. And so my hope is what I'm going to try to do is kind of go there with some of my information in Japanese, kind of like I don't even know how to put it, but just kind of like I have a reservation, this is my name, that kind of a thing. And so I'm hoping that I'll be able to bring that, present that to the people at the booth and make it as seamless a process as possible. For all of these games, I'm going to be assuming cash because I do think that maybe some of the larger publishers will accept credit cards, but I'm not planning to use cards at all while I'm there. I'm planning to just use cash because from what I've heard from people that have been to Game Market before, that's your best bet is to assume that you're paying in cash and to do that. So I did want to mention that about reservations because I happen to see on here that they have the reservation. All right, that's the Goat Father. Coming up next is one that I am tremendously excited about, and this is called Odyssey. Why am I excited about this game? The reason why I'm excited about this game specifically is the designer, Gunnil, who is a Korean designer, I believe, and my hugest apologies if I'm incorrect, but I do believe that he is a Korean designer, and he has done a number of fantastic trick-taking games, usually two-player trick-taking games. And so this one is 3 to 4, so that's a little bit different. Let me go off camera for a moment. So these 3 games here are two-player games that Gunnil has done. Ptolemy, Hipparchus, and then last year he released Phantom of the Opera. These are all two-player trick-taking games that I just think are fantastic. He's also had games that have been picked up, like Jekyll and Hyde, from Mondu, I believe, picked that up, which is a Korean publisher. And that's also a fantastic game. So I'm really, really looking forward to checking this out. This Schemers is the kind of the little publishing house, I don't want to say little, the publishing house that he put together. And so this looks like it has Korean, English, and Japan. And so I think that tells me I'm correct that he's a Korean publisher and designer. So a Korean, English, and Japanese rule book, 40 cards, 9 wooden tokens, 4 wooden boats, and 1 wooden board. Here you're seeing the, I don't know if these are Korean or Japanese, apologies for my ignorance. Here, English is right here. So it kind of goes over the rules of the game. First player to reach 9 points wins. So I think you're trying to hit goals. You're trying to hit particular goals that you are number of tricks. So it says each player is going to get a prophecy card. The number on the card is their goal. When a player exactly meets their trick roll or their trick goal, then they reveal it. Oh, interesting. But if you win more after that, so let's say that your trick goal is 3. As soon as you hit 3 tricks, you flip it. But if you win 1 more trick after that, even 1 more, then it's unfulfilled prophecy. Okay. Look, I didn't even need to know that. I was in strictly based off of this designer. I have really, really been very impressed with Gunnil's designs. So looking forward to this one. This next one is an expansion. And this is an expansion for Magic number 11, which I know that they have this game at the Dice Tower Studios. I don't know. Actually, I've been away from comments, so let me make sure. Yeah, okay. I don't know if anyone at the studio has played Magic number 11, but I have recommended it, I know, to Tom, for sure. It's a two-player soccer or football, depending on what part of the world you're in, game. And it's really clever. It's card-driven. I like it a lot. This expansion looks like it adds some new fun stuff. One of them being a little dexterity element where you can actually be taking goal shots with a little bit of flicking, and a corner kick board, I think, is going to be there. So they're adding red cards. Those were not in the original version of the game. New players that you can play. And there you go. There's the corner kick board where you are flicking a disc, trying to get it into that goal. And so I'm stoked for this because I really do like Magic number 11. And I will tell you this, if no one plays it at the studio soon, I'll just review it myself. I'm good enough to, I mean, I'm happy to do it, but I've been kind of waiting for people to get a chance to play it. But time is ticking, Dice Tower folk. Chris, you're in the chat. You play it. It's good. All right. Oh, he said, yeah, Chris has said no one's played it. He's hoping to once he's done with the move. All right. That's good. Okay, here we go. I may need to pick up the pace here. I thought, man, this is going to be too short of a video, and here I am, blah, blah, blah. Up next is a solitaire game. And it's so funny because the designer comes right out, and they even say it right on the Game Market website. You see right underneath where it has the description, reserve, release, and capture cards from 1 to 7 to match the specified numbers. What does it say right below that? No theme. All right. Super lightweight, non-themed solitaire. Easy to carry package. Great for brain teasing. A solitaire game, 10 to 15 minutes. Why am I interested in this themeless solitaire game? And it is because of the designer Kamibayashi, who is the designer of Unstable Wizard, which I love that game. I've talked about it on the channel. I've reviewed it on the channel. It was picked up by Salt and Pepper Games, the Spanish publisher, and it became their largest funding crowdfunding project to date. And so I really like Kamibayashi's designs. Another game of his is it Yoyai or, oh, I can't remember the name of it, but it's a two-player kind of like a battling game. It's very good. That was picked up by Lucky Duck. And so I really very intrigued by his designs. And so while it looks like a very, very simple game, I'm in. I'm in strictly because of this designer and the fact that, you know, it's a solo game, a small box solo game. And this designer has shown already what magic they can weave with just a few cards. This one looks like it has 29. So yeah, stoked about that one. All right, here we go. Let's have a little Anapilaxis, shall we? Well, no, maybe not, but that's the name of this trick-taking game, Anapilaxis, and love the theme. You go from no theme to a fantastic theme where instant death trick-taking is how it's described. And so 3 to 4 player trick-taking game, collect bees and get points. However, if you catch the same bee, you're going to suffer anaphylaxis and be eliminated. An instant death trick-taking game that lets you experience the thrilling feeling that's unique to Trick Room right from the very first move, okay? So you're trying to collect bee cards, get as many points as possible, but you don't want to get 2 of the same card. I'm assuming maybe you don't want to win with 2 of the same number, would be my guess. So it's a must-follow game. Trump cards that will change with each lead. So there's a unique card composition. 7 cards of 4 suits. Thank you, Bruce. Kirai the Duel was the name of the other Kamibayashi game. All right. So you've got 1, 2, 3, and then 2 4s and 2 5s. If you get a card of the same color and number twice, you'll go into anaphylaxis and you're out for that round. 0 points. What's important here is that you can pass twice in a round, okay? So it sounds like you can pass even if you have a card that you could follow with, and you're gonna have to obviously be careful about when you're passing because obviously you're gonna wanna pass when you would take a second B card of the same, all right? However, it says, yeah, it's a mean game. You have to win first. If you carelessly play a B card and the next person must play the same card, you may be eliminated. Got it. Okay. Yeah. All right. It sounds cool to me. And so I am in on I'm all in on Anaphylaxis. Next up, we've got Fine Line. Is it a trick-taking game? Yes, it's a trick-taking game. I'm sorry. Most of the games released at Tokyo Game Market, I feel safe to say, are trick-taking games. If not most, then a whole lot. So why am I interested in Fine Line? Well, it's got a lovely, lovely illustration of a slice of pizza being removed with some fantastic cheese pull action going on. But this one is all about the designer. This is Leo, who is the designer of two really, well, more than two, but two that I'm particularly smitten with, trick-taking games called Vivo and most recently Petir. Fantastic trick-taking games. And this is next in the lineup from this publisher, Vic Village, and this designer, Leo. And so yes, this is one that I'm really, really excited about. This designer has quite a pedigree. Those last two games are both very highly regarded. I've taught them many times at Dice Tower conventions. I'm trying to remember. I'm relatively sure Petir has not been reviewed on the channel, but I think we reviewed Vivo. If not, that needs to change. But I'm pretty sure we did review Vivo. Okay. So yeah, Fine Line. Really, really intrigued by this one. Let me check something really quick. Is there more? It's not even in. Yeah, it's not even in BGG. Oh, no, now I need to find out where I am. Right here. Okay. It's not even in BGG yet. I'm not sure if more information beyond what we see right there has been released. Maybe on social media. Maybe Vic Village, although I follow them. So maybe I've seen more and just can't quite recall. But anyway, this one is definitely one I'm interested in. Here's another one. This is not a trick-taking game, but man, the concept of this game is so intriguing to me. This is called Smomi Vacation. Okay? So, these are people that are only looking down at their feet because they're staring at their cell phones. I absolutely love that idea. Love that idea. Okay, so you can see these custom meeples where you've got people that are leaning forward, looking at their cell phone and oblivious to the rest of the world around them. Love that idea. So a Swampi is a smartphone zombie. They walk around without looking ahead, operating their phones. All right, so this is an idea where you're trying to be the last one standing, okay? There's symbols that are going to be on the ground that give instructions to the Smombis who are only looking at their feet. All right. So this used to be a two-player only game, and now it was just called Swampi. I have not played it. I had not heard of it. This is now a game that becomes a 2 to 4 player game, and so that's great because it makes it even more, I think, a wider appeal. All right. And so you've got the day side of the board, which I believe is the 2-player game, and then the night side of the board, which I believe would be the 3 to 4 player game. Okay. And so from what I can understand is you're going to have these different tiles that are going to be placed on the board, and you're going to kind of follow the rules of what those things tell you. So it says the basic rules for 2 players are to compete for pieces by placing panels with special effects and movement on a 5x5 board. Players take turns moving their pieces, and the player who captures 2 of their opponent's pieces or kicks them off the board wins. To give instructions to your pieces, you place instruction panels from your hand on the board. And it says, when placing a panel, it's important to think carefully about whether it will give your opponent an opportunity. So you've got melting ice, you've got manholes. And so this is one that I feel like has a little bit of maybe a programming element. This to me is just fascinating. I don't know, is it gonna be good? I don't know, but the concept of this game is so fascinating to me that this is one I'm really, I did reserve this one. I'm very, very excited about picking this up. It says if a Smomi is hit by another Smomi, it drops a coin, and then if that coin gets picked up, it enters into fever time, which you put that token on them. And then what does that do? I don't know, but I'm all for this. This just looks really, really cool to me. Yeah, I'm stoked. Snoked and snoked. I'm snoked about Smombis. All right. Chris says he and I both need to review Vivo and Patir. Yes, we need to do that, or I'll do it. Either way, those games need to be reviewed. Okay, so Smomi Vacation, super stoked about that. All right, I'll try to pick up the pace here. I'm 44 minutes in. Next up is White Runner. This is not a trick-taking game, neither was Smomi, by the way, as you probably saw. This is a cross-country skiing themed game, and that's what got me, was the theme. 2 to 4 players, 15 to 30 minutes, also Jelly games. I do like a lot of the games that they have produced. Jelly also runs a board game cafe in Japan, I think in Akihabara. I'm not positive about that. It looks like this was crowdfunded and did very well. It was not one that I backed. I don't think I even saw this one. But yeah, a cross-country themed game. Oh, I have that. Okay, no. I saw a little bit more information about this. Let me see. Is this something we can find out a little more here? No. Okay, I was incorrect. But I saw something about this, some more about this. Oh, on social media. So I've seen pictures of it. It looks really interesting to me. It's one of those games that Z's gonna love because the box folds out to become the game board. And you can kind of see that here. It's got little tiles. Games at Tokyo Game Market. I've been able to play several abstract games that were released at Tokyo Game Market. Not all of them have been great, but several of them have. And so I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued by the look of this. Wire. Here's flow. All right. Got the rules right there, okay, in English. So they look like very simple abstract games, but that's fine. I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Jelly is a board game cafe chain. They're all over Japan. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Good to know. More of a board game rental playing area as they don't serve food. Oh, okay. And they don't sell games either. Okay, got it. I wonder if they sell their own games there, though. That would make sense if they at least sell their Jelly games there. But I don't know. Obviously, I've never been. All right, moving on. Oh, here we go. A couple of games from Silvergun Games. And these are mostly about theme. Okay, so here we go. They're calling, up at the top it says Brumbling Quokka, or Quokka? But I believe that the actual name of the game is Vroom Vroom. Is it Quokka or Quokka? I'm going to say Quokka, but I don't know. But these just look adorable to me, and this is all in Japanese. But you can just get an idea of the look of the game. And yeah, look, I'm just a sucker for the way this looks, and also the way that the game has played. So from what I can gather. In this one, is this the one where you're playing? Yeah, you're playing half. Because there's another game coming up right after that. Yeah, so this is the one I think where you are kind of you've got tickets and you're traveling on this bus, and the tickets are going to show half of the information of the card that you're playing, and so players are going to see half of the card that you're playing, but not the whole thing. maybe they only see the suit but not the number, or maybe they only see the number but not the suit. And then everyone's going to reveal the other half of their ticket, and then you'll play out the trick that way. I believe that's how it works. Not 100%, but if you look, you can kind of see here where it looks like you see where it says number 1, number 2, and number 3. Yeah, it looks like in number 1, they're only showing the suit, the yellow suit, where number 2 is only showing the number 9, and number 3 is only showing the suit. It also looks like there's a bit of a rondelle thing going on, so maybe that is Trump. That could be. Perhaps it's a Trump thing, but again, I'd have to read the rules, and I have not looked at the English rules yet. If there are none, then I'll just use a translator app. The other game by the same designer is called Shake It Meerkat. 2 to 5 player game, 20 minutes, 2 to 5 players. The higher the number on the card, the larger the meerkat illustration. Look at the size of the meerkat to see through your opponent's lie or play a stronger card. Looks like this is a shedding game. First to run out. Okay, any cards left in your hand will be deducted from your score. So this one's a shedding game. I love the illustrations on the cards. I love the concept. These games just both look adorable to me, and that's why they're on the list, because this just looks adorable. Straight up. All right. Next up, we've got Bean to Bar. Now, this is by far the heaviest game that I am looking at Tokyo Game Market. This looks like a heavyweight Euro, and this is coming from Analog Lunchbox, which is a publisher that I have a lot of appreciation for. I've played several games from Analog Lunchbox that I have liked quite a bit, but this looks much heavier than any other game of theirs I've played. I believe the only other games of theirs I've played have been card games. Yeah, I'm relatively sure I've only played card games by them, but this looks like a proper heavyweight Euro, and I love this idea of you are going from the cocoa bean to a chocolate bar. So you're going through that whole process of the production of chocolate. It says the actions you take are simple, but the game is heavy and lasts for 90 to 180 minutes. So yeah, no joke. Resource management across 3 axes, funds, time, and player markers. Chocolate Craftsman, and this I do believe has an English rule book, which will be very, very necessary for this one, because it looks like actually I'm sure there is, because I did look through it. You can see the chocolate pieces are kind of polyominoes, but you use those to create a full bar. 12 rounds, perform up to 3 actions. But you can see this looks like a very, very involved game. You can get more information here. Yeah, like, again, you can tell what's happening here. This is a very, to me, cool looking Euro game. A lot going on. My biggest concern with this one are twofold. One is that it's pricey, which you would expect with a game. I don't think it's overpriced. I'm not saying that. I couldn't tell you until I see the game. But it is pricey because it's a larger game, and also probably a larger game. And so I have to be very conscious of the space restrictions that I'll have. Next up is Tornado Splash. And this one is actually coming from Arclight Games, which they are the ones that run Tokyo Game Market, and they're the ones that are going to be bringing me over on behalf of the Dice Tower. And so I love the look of this game. Let me just show you some images here. So you've got these watercraft, all right, and you're going to be placing, oops, let me go, it looks like it's going in the opposite direction. Watercraft. You've got these different characters that I believe all have different abilities that you're going to be placing on top of the watercraft. And then when they win, you put them on the on the leader kind of metal board there, which I think is adorable. And you're laying out cards that are your path, right? Love that idea. So this kind of looks like Wave Race 64. I am all over this. I think that picture alone sells me the game. Um, that's not going to be for everyone, but wow, do I love the look of this game. And since I'm going to the ArcLight offices, I'm relatively sure, and I'm almost sure they're selling it there too. So there's a pretty darn good chance I'm gonna be at least playing this game, if not picking it up. But man, do I love the look of that. Tornado Splash. All right, now that actually ArcLight Games. This is starting with the larger booths, and so all of the games from here on out are from larger publishers that are going to be in larger booths. So ArcLight was the first. Now let's go to Itten Games, and if you've watched any of my kind of reviews on the channel, you'll know that I am a huge fan of Itten as a publisher. They are well known primarily for their dexterity type of games. And so Tokyo Highway is maybe their most well known. They also have Crash Octopus, which is just a fantastic dexterity game. They put out a line of games called the Fun Brick series that I have really loved. They were originally only available in Japan, but then they became popular enough that they did a Kickstarter for it. I believe it was Kickstarter, in the United States for English language versions of that game. That was very successfully funded. And those were all small dexterity games, two of them by Reiner Knizia, one Viking Seesaw, who I spent a lot of time talking about, so I won't begrudge that. But let's move to this, Hits and Outs, which is a baseball-themed game, two-player baseball-themed game. And this to me just looks great. I think it's kind of like a bluffing game. Yeah, reasoning and bluffing where you have limited information. There may be more information about this on BGG. Yeah, let's see if we've got some more information there. Yeah. Each inning, players take turns at the plate and on the mound. When batting, you get hits by correctly guessing the base where the pitcher has hidden the baseball token. If they hit it at second and you find it, you get a double. When you're pitching, you try to keep the batter from reaching base by fooling them 3 times. Each incorrect guess is an out. So yeah, it seems like a very simple concept, but I love the idea of this. I think this looks terrific. And Itten Games, they have a proven track record for me. They haven't hit for everybody in the studio. Tom has not been the biggest fan of the Fun Brick games, but I happen to heartily disagree with him on that. So be that as it may. Let me see. Where are we next? Okay, right here. Oh, and speaking of Itten, before I move on, they are also going to have another Fun Brick game, Gravity 3. We actually covered it in the news. I am very much hoping to bring that back with me as well. And they also have one called Four Corner Detective that was also talked about on the news. So yeah, every Itten release this year I'm very interested in. Speaking of interested in, have I mentioned how much I love Sashi and Sashi as a publisher and Sashi as a designer? And at the Dice Tower, that is a pretty shared opinion. Sashi and Sashi games are pretty widely appreciated at the Dice Tower and in the wider board gaming sphere. And I think the reason for that is that his games are really good. Simple as that. Sashi makes really good games. And so this was a late ad from following the journey of this game on social media. This is one that Sashi was just able to get completed in time. So this is called The Great Evening Banquet, and super excited. 1 to 4 players. Let's stage a wonderful celebration at the State Guest House. This is at the beginning of the 20th century. Sashi does has, especially in more recent games, has kind of used this time period. It was the same time period used in Come Sail Away, which is a fantastic game. To celebrate its completion, a big banquet is held, so that's the theme. Choose one of the carriage tiles in the center of your great hall. Take it and the VP tokens into your hand. Put them into your hall. So it looks like you've got tiles you're going to be placing out. Place VIP tokens around the guest of honor to score. When 4 of them are placed around the guest of honor tile, you get points depending upon the type and color of the token. All right. Consider placing the tiles with the bonus photo opportunity at the end of the game in mind. That's for bonus points. Expert rules and solo play rules are available. And that is one of the things that I do tend to appreciate about Sashi Games, is that almost across the board, he had a couple of his earlier trick-taking games that can be a little bit tough to wrap your brain around. But for the most part, Sashi Games are relatively straightforward to teach and to learn, but they're very satisfying to play. And this is, I'm hoping, shaping up to be another one of those. It's also a pretty standard thing for him to also give you base game rules. And here's a way to make it a little more challenging if you want it to be a little bit more meaty of a game. And he also tends to do very good solo modes as well. And it looks like that's going to be the case here. Looks like you've got some nice thick cardboard tiles. These remind me of the coffee roaster tiles, just at first glance. They kind of look like the coffee roaster tiles to me. So I'm so in. So in. All right. Here's another big Japanese publisher. This is Oink Games. And Oink Games has several games that I am interested in. One is let me go grab this really fast. One is a kind of a re-implementation, and I think this is a special edition that it has kind of a story behind it. So this is called Fair Trade Souvenirs, but really what it is a iteration on this game, which was a release from Oink, I believe last year. Well, I got it at Essen last year, so I believe it was an Essen release last year, but it's now more widely available, called Souvenirs from Venice, okay? And it was from the same 2 designers as Deep Sea Adventure, which is the same case for this. So what this does is it takes Souvenirs from Venice, need to remind myself, and it adds to it. It's one of their larger box sizes now. It's basically 2 times the size of a standard Oink box, but it changes it up. It's an adaptation of Venice Souvenirs. It adds special souvenirs with a fair trade certification level. They require 2 coins to buy, but if they're included in the souvenirs you've collected, you get bonus points. So this is a game that has got a bit of an environmental theme now. It's trying to make it so that it's protecting the work. Well, maybe a work environment theme. I don't think instead of a global, it's more like working fair trade, so that this idea of treating workers fairly. Yeah, it's an initiative that promotes fairness by spreading the fair trade movement through cooperation between local governments, businesses, stores, citizen groups. So yeah, I think this is an idea of, we're going to take this game, and because there's this movement in Japan, we're going to make a special edition of the game for that. It was developed at the request of Kamakura City. So I think that's awesome. I love the idea of that. And so I'm happy to get a game that's similar to one I already have, because I just think it's a cool idea. Let me make sure. Okay, nothing in comments I need to address right away. Moving on, the next Oink game is called Petakit. This has been talked about in the news, so I'm not going to talk a whole lot about it here, but this is kind of a interesting experiential type of a game where it's kind of a meta type of a game where you've got this lineup of cards that are going to have different animals with different kinds and colors of hats, and then you're trying to kind of predict, based upon what's in the lineup so far, what would be the next best combination to go in that line. And I think you're trying to gain like you're trying to get groupthink. You get more points based upon the number of other people that guessed that way. So that's for the cooperation mode, I assume. And then there's also a battle mode. So yeah, I think that's a very cool idea. Next up is roulette. Wiggle Roulette is going to be the English name of this one. This is a second co-design from Jun Sasaki, who kind of is the head of Oink and designs many of their games, and Bruno Faiduti, who had done a co-design recently for the game Whale to Look, which I like a lot. This looks like a much kind of lighter and sillier affair, where you're trying to grab eels out of a bag, blindly grabbing out of a bag, but you have to be careful. You don't want to get snakes, because whoever gets more snakes than whatever the limit is for a particular round, it causes a snake overflow, and then they'll lose all their eels. So you want to get more eels than anyone else, but you don't want to go crazy because the snakes could cause all the eels to go bye-bye. So very simple concept, cute, willing to definitely give that one a shot. Up next from Broadway Toys, which is a publisher that I have also played several of their games and have liked quite a bit. This is called The Wondrous Museum. I like the theme on this. I like the art on this a lot. 1 to 5 players, but the designer. That's who's really got my attention on this. I'm gonna mispronounce it. Chris knows the pronunciation. Zonger. Terrible. Terrible. I should have checked that before I came on. Sorry. Here we go. Previous games. Let's look at some of these games. So, Train and Railway I've not played. Very highly regarded from what I can tell. Taiwan Night Market. One that I've heard very good things about. Christmas Tree. Vegetable Stock. Anybody? Vegetable Stock. Right? So, publisher... I've played games from this publisher before I like. Designer. Pretty good pedigree on that designer. And so yeah, let's take a little bit more of a look on this. You are collecting exhibits, trying for the highest score. You can acquire, choose an exhibit from your hand or the market, pay its cost, and put it in your museum next to an existing card. You can display, flip a rune token and activate the corresponding runes display effect. You can do a swap. Whenever you have 10 exhibits or the total praise token rating reaches 20, the current round will end. You'll have one more additional round. So yeah, I just like the look of this one quite a bit. I like the designer a whole lot. Okay. All right. Apparently I'm in the right ballpark. And also Taylor Reiner from Taylor's Trick Taking Table is here. Hello, Taylor. I'm very much looking forward to having a blast. I think the only way I would have a better time is if you were going as well, and we can hang out a bit there. But alas, unfortunately, it was not to be. All right. So yeah, Wondrous Museum. Next up is coming from publisher Sweeworks, and this is here primarily because of the publisher, because I have played previous games from Sweeworks that I have liked quite a bit. I keep stepping off camera. Very, very professional of me, but you know what? It's because sometimes I have games I want to show. So, Ratoro is a game from Sweeworks that I have played. I don't believe that I have reviewed either of these yet, but this is basically, I mean, it looks like Studio Ghibli in a box. A recent one I got is Balladerie. So I need to play this one some more, but a pick up and deliver game. Ratoro is a worker placement game. Balladerie, a pick up and deliver game. Desolito looks like a tile placement game, and it looks intriguing to me. 1 to 4 players, 30 to 60 minutes, okay? And it's a drafting and tile placement game. Okay, well, that sounds good so far, right? I like drafting and tile placement. You have your own personal board and player pieces. And then you've got a town hall tile in the center, and you've got milestone cards, request cards. So you've got 4 rounds, each with three phases: drafting phase, tile placement, and preparation. And so it looks like you're going to be drafting tiles that you then will simultaneously choose one of the 5 tiles to their left. Ah, okay. And then you'll put it on the 4 position of your construction plan board. That's right. So yeah, you're drafting from the left and they go in a particular order. And then you're going to go to the right and then take that and put it in the 3rd position, left and then right. And then you're going to be placing the tiles, okay? And you've got some restrictions for that, of course. You move the player piece at the vertex of hexagon 1 space to an adjacent one, and then you place the tile that's in the 1 position. Yeah, and so you kind of keep doing this. I just think this is an interesting idea. It looks unique, and then obviously there's going to be scoring conditions based upon the type of tiles that you're going to be placing. I'm assuming that there can be a situation where you can maybe get blocked out and not be able to place a tile because you have not kind of planned out how you're going to be placing these tiles. So all of that sounds very interesting to me. This looks very much like a multiplayer solitaire game, so that's not going to be everyone's taste. Although it does look like maybe you're setting up what tiles people are going to be drafting, but still, this looks to be more of a multiplayer solitaire type of a thing. The other one by the same designer, or same publisher, I should say, is not new, and it's a game I've played. This was Kickstarted. It's called Yuchiman. And I played this with Tom, actually, when I was at the old Dice Tower studio, that way old one from ages ago. We played this one, and I don't know if we're going to be reviewing it, so I'm going to keep my mouth shut. I feel comfortable saying I liked it. I'll say that much. A really interesting game that had kind of the time track mechanism where you can go as far as you want, but you pass up stuff to do so and you can't go backwards. So this is one that I've played already. It's not a small box, so it's unlikely I'm coming back with it, but I kind of want to because I missed out on the Kickstarter on the Kickstarter, and I liked it. All right. Next up, Plate Games, and this is a Korean publisher actually. So there are publishers that I could have mentioned this at the beginning of the stream. There are non-Japanese publishers that exhibit at Game Market. As a matter of fact, there are American publishers. I know that All Play is going to be there. I know that Arcane Wonders is going to be there. There are probably others. But here's a Korean publisher, Plate Games, who actually have been to a number of international conventions and are doing quite well. This is called Zombie Dot, and this is the one that is new to me. There are other games that they're going to be releasing there. Many of the games that Plate release are redos of older games, much older games, oftentimes from the 70s and 80s. But this is a new game from my knowledge. Well, new-ish. It was, I believe, released at Tokyo Game Market maybe several years ago, but now it's kind of being redone by Plate. And you're playing out cards. Oh man, I thought I had much more information. Yeah, I'm sure I have more information on this. Zombie dot zombie. Okay, so some of these pictures are going to be from the older version. Yeah, those are from the older version. I don't know if they're going to have any new pictures of the newer version. It doesn't look like they are, but you can get an idea. You're playing out these cards. It almost gives me like a Bandito vibe. If you've played Bandito, that game from Helvetique, where it's almost like you're playing out maze cards. I don't think that's really what's happening here. But yeah, I'm intrigued by this. Honestly, if Plate thought that it was a game that is good enough to kind of bring to a wider audience, that's a pretty compelling thing for me. The other new game, as far as I'm aware, is Meow Meow Dice. Yes. Heartwarming dice game that you can play with adorable cats. You're rolling dice, creating combinations, and this is just adorable. The look of this is just adorable, where you are going to be placing out these dice that have. See if this is the Korean. But you can see the different face of the dice. Love that. I just think that's great. You can get an idea, even though this is not the English version of the rules. Yeah, that just looks awesome. All right. And then the last thing, yes, last thing is an expansion from a game that I have played and reviewed on the channel, and that is Snow Planner. All right, so Snow Planner had a second Kickstarter that, for reasons I don't even remember right now, it must have been financial. I was not able to back the expansion for Snow Planner. It also was a big box that I would have loved to have gotten that keeps all these together, but you got new season and new challenge. And so new things to add to Snow Planner, a game I already liked quite a bit. And so I am happy that I'll be able to pick them up there. They look to be very small box expansions. And did I miss something? You're hearing a ring? That's very interesting. I had nothing pop up. I had nothing pop up on my screen. And my phone is being used as a camera right now. I probably should have, I don't think I put my phone on the do not disturb. That was my mistake. Huh. Okay, well, sorry about that. But don't know who called. I'll find out later. Hopefully it wasn't Tom. But yeah, okay, so that is my list, folks. As I said at the beginning, is it an exhaustive list? No. There are more games that I saw that I was very, very interested in, that I am interested in. As I said, there'll be more games that I become interested in when I get there. Almost can guarantee that. But that's what I'm pretty stoked for right now. Asking what's up with shipping prices from the US. That I can't tell you. I don't know. Not sure. Anatomically correct dice, cat dice transcends all languages. I couldn't argue with that one. Am I bringing any crowdfunding games back with me? I am not. What are you most excited for aside from the game market? Visiting Japan. Yeah, that's what I'm most excited about. I don't know that I would have had an opportunity to go to Japan outside of this, and so I'm really grateful for that opportunity. Very much looking forward to it. All right, anything else coming up here? Nope, doesn't look like it. All right, well, maybe you saw something that strikes your fancy, and I do want to just state this. I know that this can almost kind of feel like a bummer where it's like, oh man, all of these games, and maybe you saw one or two that looked really interesting to you and you're like, how am I ever going to get a hold of this game? Well, there are ways. I will tell you that it obviously is going to involve a cost, okay? Because when you import something, there's always going to be a cost involved, but specifically from Japan, it can cost a little bit more. And this has nothing to do with tariffs. I mean, that's a separate issue. But oftentimes the places that you're going to be ordering from are not necessarily set up to deliver to the United States. And so you have to go through forwarding services, and there are several of them. I will state this. If there are games from Japan that are not getting wider distribution, that you are interested in trying to get a hold of, there are online resources to help you. I'll shout out my buddy Jay from Cardboard East. He also works for Bezier Games right now, but he has his own YouTube channel called Cardboard East. And on that channel, he gives you several different ways to track down games from Japan and get them to the United States using different forwarding system services. I've used World Shopping before. I've used Booth before. There are several different forwarding services. And yes, they do charge a bit of a fee, but in my opinion, it's a pretty reasonable fee for what they're doing for you, which is essentially you tell them the game that you want, they order it for you, and then they will forward it to you after they've received it in their warehouses. So Bruce is asking, will you have a translator or is it pretty English friendly there? Well, as I mentioned earlier, I do not expect anybody to speak English to me while I'm there. Will there be people who do? I'm sure there will, but I'm going there with no expectations that they do. I will have somebody from ArcLight who will be helping me from time to time, who will be able to go around with me and help me kind of coordinate, especially if I'm going to be doing interviews with designers or publishers. We'll try to kind of set those up, and I will have somebody that will help me as a translator there. I'm also going to utilize Google Translate. Mostly when I'm like looking at written things, I'll use the kind of the camera, which is not perfect, but it's not bad. It has actually allowed me to translate rule books that I would not have been able to otherwise. So I will have somebody part-time that will be helping me as a translator, which is fantastic and greatly appreciated. So, all right, well, I think I'm going to end it there and not take up too much more of your time, folks. But thanks for hanging out with me. It was fun. I'm super excited about this, very much looking forward to it. And, you know, who knows? Someone's saying here, very English, actually very English friendly in Japan. Yeah, thanks for hanging out, folks. Until the next time I see you, this is Mike DiLisio, and I am signing off.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you like this review or whatever you just watched, wasn't it amazing? Check out our channel, Dice Tower. We have all kinds of things. We review games, we do top 10s, we play games live. It's all about board games, but especially the people who play them. Check out Dice Tower YouTube channel.